People shouted in praise of the emperor. The maid asked my lady to stand up and turn around. The guy asked the maid why she again asked the girl to turn around if only the earrings had changed. He asked why she cared so much. The racing team replied that today the emperor's coronation ceremony will take place. She said it wouldn't hurt to be more careful. At that moment, the head maid came and shouted at both of them. She said that they should not make noise in front of the lady. At that moment, the girl who was being dressed told the head maid, Suzanne, that everything was fine. The butler entered the room and told the lady that Lord Cassian would arrive soon. The girl turned around and told the butler to tell her that she was coming down now. Mary told the girl that if she thought about it, next year she would reach adulthood. Anne was surprised that there was still a whole year left. He asked what if the young master got tired of waiting and lost consciousness. But Mary told the guy not to worry. She said that he has such a body that others disappear before him. At that moment, the girl laughed and said that she was just thinking how quickly time flies. She said that so much has happened, and she cannot believe that everything is happening. At this moment, the head maid reminded the girl that young Master Cassian was waiting for her in the garden. The girl cheered up and said that she would be there now. Afterwards, the main character went outside and looked for a guy. At that moment, she noticed him. When Cassian noticed the girl, he smiled. Latia blushed and asked if she had made him wait. The girl thought that maybe it was because of the words of Mary and Anne, but Cassian looked more mature than usual. The girl and the guy sat on the fountain, and Latia asked the guy what he was doing. The guy said he was making a crown. The main character was surprised and asked why. At this moment, Cassian admitted that he wanted to give the girl a ring, but she had not yet reached adulthood. So he gives her this crown. The girl blushed and asked if he had just asked for her hand in marriage. Cassian replied that not really. He said he just asked in advance. He said that if she suddenly wants to refuse the status of his wife, she will have to come up with very compelling reasons. Cassian said that in case she refused, he had prepared approximately 29,213 reasons to marry him. The main character was surprised and said that this was some kind of strange number. Cassian said that therefore she should not refuse his proposal. Latia told him not to worry because she wouldn't, but she added that she was not going to become his wife. Latia took the crown and put it on the guy's head, saying that he would become her husband instead. Cassian smiled and said that it was good and let it be as she wants. Latia said she would be happy to do so and offered to go. She is a crazy person who enjoys torturing others. She is so inferior that no one will marry her. She is the greatest villain and witch of the century. This is what they call the main character. People shouted for the girl to be killed now. They threw stones and eggs at her. The main character's name is Latia Gladelis. She wondered if there was at least one noble lady in this empire more scandalous than her. People told the girl to ask Lord Cassian for forgiveness with her life. Latia did not understand why she would ask for forgiveness, since she is the eldest daughter of the privileged house of Gladelis and a noble lady. She didn't understand why on earth she should ask for forgiveness when her family was being treated like this. The girl understood that the reason for all this confusion, Duke Cloud of Lamdasel, self-proclaimed Lamdasel estate. Just 3 years ago, Lamdasel was just the home of a poor count. Being a friend of the main character's father, the count left them his only son, after which he set off on a sea voyage in order to avoid bankruptcy. Who knew that he would become a hero who opened the world's first sea trade route? He even managed to destroy the pirates that were plaguing the empire and include them in the navy. When he returned to the empire, his services were recognized. He was granted the title of Duke. However, Latia's father assumed that the count would soon die and treated his son like an eyesore. And the girl's father shouted at the guy that he was an insignificant parasite. He asked if he knew how much it cost him to maintain it. The main character's mother said that the guy is no better than a beetle. She said that he needed to become a slave, and maybe then he would understand how well he lived. Latia laughed behind her mother and told the guy that this was really so. She said that according to her mother, no one would accept him, even if he ran away. Mom told her daughter that this was so. She asked who else would take care of such a beast besides them. People shouted that the main character's family were criminals who abused the son of the hero of the empire. They did not shout to be punished for going against humanity. Latia could not say that she was innocent, even though she went with the flow and mocked Cassian, and this is what it turned into. The man shouted, "Well, he heard that they even secretly run illegal fighting houses." The main character cried and asked her mother what would happen to them. The girl's mother told her husband that they had to blame everything on the Latia. She said that this was the Latia accounting of the fighting houses. She said that because of this, they hired a math teacher. She said that she was the one who was bullying Cassian all this time. The main character did not understand what her mother was saying. The girl's father said that now they won't do anything. He said that even if they talk about it, no one will believe that a 10-year-old girl managed the fighting houses herself. The woman told the man that in any case, it's up to you to send off the report. She said that after all, Lathea was just an illegitimate child born from a maid's hurricane. These words shocked the girl. She didn't understand if what she was hearing was actually true. The main character asked her mother if she was joking. She asked how she could be illegitimate because it was not possible. Mom called the main character a useless girl. She hugged her daughter Helen, saying that she was her only precious daughter. The woman turned to Latia. She had nothing more to say. She said that the girl should be responsible for her actions. Latia cried and told her mother that she did all this for them, so that they would accept her. She said that all she wanted was simple love. The main character endured all possible scandals to protect the family, but she thought that if everything she believed was a lie, then she didn't know who she really was. At this moment, Latia began to have a headache. It hurt so much that it felt like it was being torn to pieces. The main character saw her memories from childhood. She didn't understand if it was that her whole life flashed before her eyes, but she didn't understand why her memories didn't end. At that moment, she saw memories of the office worker. She didn't understand who it was, but for some reason it turned out to be very familiar to her. The main character saw a book with her name written on it. At that moment, she realized that this was not just an old book. Now she remembered. She had a life before this. Since she saw Latia's name in the book, it means she was such a person. The girl realized that it was reincarnation. Latia thought this was very ridiculous. She didn't understand why memories of her previous life surfaced in her memory right before her death. She doesn't know what to do with them now. The people she considered her family betrayed her. Even the maids looked at her from high. She couldn't believe that was the last thing on her mind. She thought it was very terrible. At this moment, the emperor announced that the execution would now take place. The main character realized that all this time, her life was literally in the balance. She realized that the idiot who took the initiative to torture Cassian was only to attract attention. The girl wondered if she had known this before her death, she would have lived a different life. She thought that if she had found at least one person who said that this was not wrong, she might not have died. At that moment, the main character heard the maid asking her to stop. The girl didn't understand what was happening here. She turned around and saw the maid on her knees and asking her not to do this. The maid said that she knew that she was actually a completely different girl. She said that the love she seeks in this way will not be real. Latia realized that she had heard this before. Suzanne said that the girl should stop being so cruel to Cassian and asked her to run away with her. The main character broke the maid's heart by saying that she would never listen to any nanny, and this is the result of her past. The heroine realized, is this really what she did before? Latia didn't understand why Cassian was here and looking at her like that. At this moment, the main character realized that she had returned to the past. The main character understood that Cassian should now be with his famous father, but he again remained the boy who was bullied in their home. That's when the main character ran up to the mirror and realized that she was younger. She didn't know if this meant that she not only reincarnated, but returned to the past. But she did not understand to what point in time she had returned. At this moment, the maid turned to the girl. The main character realized that Susan was kicked out 3 years ago. She decided to look into the past. The Count's son, who went to clear the city of pirates, was an excellent opportunity to attract attention. So the girl's family began to pretend that they were treating Cassian well. And the father of the main character, Marquis Albus, used Cassian to raise funds in business. However, as soon as public interest waned, Cassian became a liability. After that, Suzanne tried to defend Cassian, but she was kicked out and swept away, called hypocritical. At that moment, the girl realized something. She brought up that if Suzanne was still here, that meant that this moment would be at least 3 years before she died. The girl realized that this was her chance. She understood that she was in a novel that she had read in her past life. So if she tries, she can stay alive. At that moment, the main character noticed how the guy began to leave. She decided that she would ask for forgiveness before he slipped away. The girl tried to touch the guy and asked him to wait a minute. But when she touched him, he pushed her away and hit her hand. The guy told the main character to just say what she needed and not pester him. Latia raised that such a reaction was quite natural considering what she had done to him so far. The main character decided that this time she would live differently. She apologized to the guy and said that she was very sorry for pestering him all this time. She said that in the past she thought this was correct, but now she understands that she behaved stupidly. She said she really had no excuses. She was very embarrassed to say this. The main character said that she was very sorry. She understood that perhaps the guy thought that she was making excuses. At that moment, the main character remembered the wound on the guy's cheek that she herself had inflicted. She asked what she had done to him. At that moment, the girl asked Suzanne to bring the ointment. The maid was at first perplexed, but then agreed. At that moment, another maid named Betty appeared and asked the main character what she had just said. The girl remembered her by her voice and was delighted. Betty waited for the main character after Suzanne was kicked out. Therefore, they always spent time together as best friends. The main character thought that somehow, now that she had returned to the past, she could also see Betty. She was very pleased to see her. At this moment, Betty asked the main character why she was acting like an idiot. She said that they do not favor ointments for such an insignificant parasite like a guy. At that moment, the girl remembered something. She remembered that the maid often used insulting language even after they became intimate. The main character understood what it meant. Betty already knew that she was illegitimate, and this was the reason why she was unable to get close to her family. Latia realized that if Betty knew about it, then almost everyone in the house was talking about it. The main character realized that this meant that she was a nobody. At that moment, Susan asked the other kitchen how she dared talk to Lady Latia in such a tone. She told Betty to apologize to her now. At that moment, the main character realized that Suzanne remained by her side until the very end, even if she knew the truth all this time. Betty said in her defense that Lady Latia knows very little about this world. She said that medicinal herbs for making ointments are very rare and there is not enough for everyone. The main character understood that she had returned to the past, but she still remembers the feeling of having her neck cut. She understood perfectly well that she would die if she just sat around doing nothing. Therefore, she was not going to repeat the mistakes of the past. Latia understood that she had to prove to the guy that she was on his side. The main character asked the maid if she really thought that she didn't know anything about the price of medicinal herbs. Latia said that she is the eldest daughter of the Gladelis house. She said that of course she knows how much medicinal herbs cost. She asked the maid if she really believed that she knew better than her. She asked how dare she tell her. The girl told Betty that she had the power to feed her to the dogs right now. She said that this is why she monitored her behavior. Betty asked the main character if she really said that she had such power. The main character realized that she probably thinks that she does not have such power because she is illegitimate. But she understood that Beth must have forgotten that her family liked to pretend to be very soft and kind. At that moment, the girl told the maid, in case she didn't know, that she had a lot of jewelry. She said that there are many people who are willing to get rid of a simple servant in exchange for something like this. The main character offered to bet that her body would never be found. Latia said that therefore, if she wants to live a long life, she should watch what she says. She said that this was the last advice she would give her. At that moment, the maid fell to her knees. The main character told her that she was finally in the right position, and she said that it would be useful for her to remain in this position every time she saw her. Then the maid ran away. The main character told Suzanne to bring the ointment. Latia took the ointment and wanted to give it to the guy. Kazian asked what she was trying to do. He asked if he was plotting something against him. The guy smiled and asked if she really needed to take him to some charity event again. At this moment, the main character said that she was going to stop. She said that from now on she will stop pestering him. Cassian asked if she really thought he would believe her. The guy started to turn around and said that he didn't even want to listen to her. The main character asked him to stop. She said that he probably already noticed that no one here accepts her as family. The girl said that she was mistaken. She said she thought people would pay attention to her if she treated him badly. She said she just wanted to be loved. Latia said that, as Susan had already said, the love she received by acting this way was not real. Therefore, she asked to take this ointment. Cassian shouted that he didn't care about her words and asked her to stop. He said that even if she begs him on her knees, he will never use the ointment given to her. Latia wondered what if she hit her head on the floor. The girl lay on the bed and did not understand what was happening this time. She wondered why she had to go on a diet when she was only 7 years old. She didn't understand how her parents could make her go hungry all day long. Before this, the mother told the girl that she had gained weight. She said that the girl would not be popular among the young gentlemen if she was chubby, so today she would be left without food. Now the main character remembers. Mom punished her like this even before she went back to the past. And Betty is essentially her mother's right hand. Therefore, she had to report to her about the girl's every move. The main character understood that she would have already found out that the girl had come to Cassian's side. Latia realized that if she thought about it, her mother regretted anything she gave her. Meals and desserts were a given. Mom gave expensive jewelry and dresses only to Helen, but not to the main character. When Latia asked her mother why she always had to wear clothes that Helen didn't like, and said that she also wanted new ones, Mom asked the main character, "Helen? She's still little, isn't she?" She told the girl that meanwhile, she was already an adult, and why shouldn't she give in to her sister? Latia agreed and said that she was a good sister. Everything was very obvious, but the main thing was that the heroine realized that she was stupid. The girl understood that it was important to win Cassian's trust, but first she needed to survive in this house. She decided that for now she should focus on memories from her past life. After all, this is the only way she can understand how to survive. Latia wondered when Susan would go. She thought it had been forever since she went looking for food. At that moment, there was a knock on the room, and the main character realized that it was Suzanne. When Suzanne entered the room, she was holding a tray of food. She put it on the table and told the girl that the chef had treated her. She told the girl that she must be dying of hunger and told her to help herself. Latia understood that the maid had also been starving all day. At that moment, the girl tore the bread and told Susan that she was most likely hungry too and offered to share it. Suzanne was very moved. Latia wondered why she was so strict. She wondered what kind of person the maid thought she was all this time. Suzanne told the girl that she really is such a kind and warm-hearted person. She said that, as usual, adults are to blame. The main character was surprised and asked what she meant. Suzanne apologized and said she didn't mean it any other way. She admitted that she heard the other maids talking when she walked here. She said that they said that the girl was a hypocrite. Suzanne said that there was an order for Cassian to starve too. Suzanne said that they said that the girl would only learn her lesson if someone else suffered too. The main character was surprised and asked. So she tells her that the reason the guy is starving now is because she didn't mock him earlier. Suzanne confirmed this and said that it bothered her. The main character realized that even though she did not bully Cassian physically, she still ended up being indirectly involved in this. She thought he would suffer less if she stopped tormenting him. But he is still treated poorly, even though she did not harass him. At this point, the main character offered to take the food to the guy. She said that she had not yet touched the bread and soup, so she wanted to share it with him. The girl suggested we go because the guy was not sleeping yet. Latia that perhaps she will still take the ointment. She said that she couldn't give it to the guy because he ran away. She said that they would no longer be able to give it away while they were there. After that, they left the room. The main character thought it was like they were playing spies, and it was a lot of fun. The girl began to remember that the guy's room used to be on the corner on the same floor as hers. But she understood that most likely he had already been kicked out into the basement next to the warehouse. Later, they ran to the basement. They ran as fast as they could in case they were caught by the guards. When they approached the door, the light was on. The main character said that this was a great relief. She said that she thought he was still awake. At that moment, the girl knocked on the door, but there was only silence. She thought that maybe the guy was sleeping with the light on. But at that moment, the guy told her to disappear. The main character stood in bewilderment. Cassian, I was by the bed and tossing and turning in my sleep. The main character's father told him that he was a fool, and asked if he still hadn't realized that his father had died. I told the guy that he is no longer a lot if he doesn't have a father who takes care of him. The man told the guy to earn his living by working in the stable. Cassian thought that the man was mistaken. He believed that his father lived. He knew that his father would return. It was at this moment that the guy remembered the words from his father. He told him that they could keep in touch as long as he had this stationery. He said that even if they are far from each other, they always remember that their hearts are close. The man told Cassian to let him know if he needed help. At that moment, the guy woke up. Later, he sat at the table with the paper his father gave him. Pavel no longer remembered how many letters he sent. For the past 3 months, he had not received any news from his father. At this moment, the guy was overcome with a feeling of panic. He didn't understand what if foul play or something else had happened, but he thought it was impossible. He was sure that his father, was safe. The guy asked to just stop it. At that moment, the guy remembered the girl's words that she wouldn't pester him. I thought it was nonsense. He thought that the girl was drinking, and he knew that she was illegitimate. He understood why the servants treated the Latia so badly. Mom asked the main character if the servant was rude to her. She asked what else happened. Latia said that there were pins stuck in the dress. Mom was surprised. I said that it was a great happiness that the girl was not hurt. The person who told the services to leave the pins there was in fact the Marquise herself. The guy understood that the main character was an illegitimate child, but he thought that this did not concern him. Mom told the girl that this must be her very much. The main thing is that Giri did not answer that she had not merged, but rather was very upset. But the mother told the girl that she needed to take her anger out on someone else. She said that she is like someone who does not belong to their family, but still stands to eavesdrop like a little rat. Mom told her that to become an adult, you need to be able to express your anger. The girl asked if she really would become golden if she did this. Latia completely believed all this nonsense. Mom told her, of course, and no one will be able to look at her from above. She said that what her mothers were like, she would be proud of it. She had to, and said that she would do everything to make Mom happy. Latia was just a puppet waiting for praise. Well, the guy remembered the moment when the girl said that Suzanne said that the love she received from her mother was not real. Cassian realized that at that moment she was not the Latia he knew. However, the maid came to the guy and said that the main character said that he had no food today. The guy thought that she had not changed at all. Nee got what she wanted, so she reveals her true nature. All the boys needed now was just a few warm words from their father. One phrase in a letter was enough for him. At that moment, there was a knock on the guy's room. For Cassian, it could be at this hour. At that moment, the girl said that it was her. But Cassian told her to disappear. He was sure that she was here to defeat him. The girl asked to open the door. The guy asked if he should do this. At this moment, the main character said that she had brought some food. Cassian abruptly opened the door, which greatly frightened the girl. He asked why she was acting so strangely. He said that she is the reason why he is starving in the first place. He asked why she suddenly changed her mind. But Latia shouted that this was not a misunderstanding. She told the guy what was bothering him today, so the mother punished them. The guy was surprised, and the main character explained that she had not eaten all day. But I heard that the guy was also starving, so I brought some food. Pavel did not understand what she was up to. He thought that she was poisoned. At that moment, a guard appeared. The maid told the girl that they should hide. She said that if the Marquise found out, it would be bad. The main character did not understand where they should hide. The guy told them to come in. He said they would be in trouble if they were caught. He took the girl by the hand and pulled her towards him, saying that she needed to hurry. The main character turned away sharply and told her not to pay attention. This is the first time she is in Cassian's room. The girl was very surprised. She didn't understand how they could force him to live in such a place because he was only 10 years old. She knows this is her family, but she didn't understand how they could be so evil. It even scared her. The main character understood that, of course, the Gladelis genus would pay for all the cruelty with their necks. And judging by how things are going now, she will have to join them. The girl felt awkward. She didn't know how to tell her so that she would sound casual. She wanted to say this room is not cozy, isn't it? But she realized that it was too obvious. She decided that maybe she should offer the guy a change of room. But it's already difficult for her to stand up for herself, and for this she needs power. At that moment, the main character saw the guy's gift from his father. She asked if this is Siren paper, right? At that moment, the guy suddenly ran up to the table and stood up so that the girl could not take the paper. He told her not to touch it. The main character said that she just asked. She was very upset because she didn't even stretch her hand. She remembers reading about it in a novel. It was a gift from Cloud Lamdisil before he left. He had to sell his mother's brooch to buy this one. Therefore, she must be very valuable for Cassian. The heroine approached the guy and asked if he had used this paper before. She said that this is a paper that allows him to communicate with his father correctly. Cassian was very scared and asked how she knew about it. Latia realized that this was a mistake. She understood that she had to pretend that she didn't know. At this moment, the girl began to make excuses. She said that she saw it in a catalog that is distributed to trading companies. It says that people can contact people at sea if you write in Syrian. The guy said it was true, but he said that over the past few months, he has not received a single answer. He said that maybe someone is baiting his messages before they reach him. The girl didn't think you were someone from Gladelis Manor. She knew that Cloud gave this paper in secret, just in case. Even though he and Morky were close, Cloud must have felt anxious because he couldn't be near his son. But the reason why Cassian can't use paper is because it was at this moment that Latia told the guy that no one would forget the message. She explained that they simply did not reach him. The guy was surprised and asked why he thought so. The main character said that she heard that a magic potion used on paper loses its effect due to storage in a damp place. Therefore, it must be stored dry. The guy got upset and said that he didn't know this. Latia thought that if you remember Cassian in the novel, he did not write absence as long as he was taken to this room. I didn't want my father to worry. When he couldn't stand it and finally wrote to him, the paper had already lost its effect. At that moment, the girl realized that she could help the guy. After all, she needs to win his affection right now. She decided that this was her chance, but she knew that first she needed to get him to lower his guard. The girl told the guy that he could still use the paper. She said all he had to do was dry her again and apply his magic potion. She said she wasn't teasing him one bit. She said that if he didn't know there was sunlight in her room. She asked us why don't they dry the paper in her room and smear it with some magic potion. The main character said that she saw him in her father's office. If only she had seen him in her past life, when he was arranging scarecrow books. It was full of valuables, including a magic potion. Latia, what will the guy say? She asked if he would accept her offer. Cassian asked if she really thought that the Marquis would so easily give away the best magic from the Barely. He asked the girl how he could trust her. The girls realized that she hadn't even thought about it. She knew she would have reacted the same way. She knew that she could not trust her because she had offended him all this time. However, she couldn't give up so easily. The main character said that this is the only way and use paper. She said that if a guy doesn't trust her, he can trust Susan. The guy said that he didn't want to. The girl decided that she should stop there. Otherwise, the guy's negativity towards her would become 1,000 times stronger. She said that since he insists, nothing can be done. She left the ointment and said that the guards had probably already finished patrolling. The girl left the room and said that she would go and wish the guy good night. As they walked, I asked the girl if everything would be okay. The main character said that she thinks that the guy will be fine and will come to her soon. Suzanne apologized and asked the girl why she was so sure. The main character said that the guy took the ointment, although he said that he wouldn't take it. The maid agreed and said that she was sure that the guy would soon understand that he was really dear to her. Latia jumped on the bed and said that she would wait. She was willing to bet that the soldering would be here tomorrow morning. Suzanne told the girl that the guy didn't show up today. Latia said that everything is fine because he is always careful. She said that she would have to wait a little longer. The maid said that a week had already passed. Latia hoped that he would come soon. At that moment, she noticed 2 chicks and thought it was very cute. Latia remembered that it seems that when she was about 6, she found a wounded woman and a bird in the garden. They brought her home trying to cure her, but she never opened up to the girl. The main character asked Susan why the chick doesn't trust her. The racing girl answered that because there is a time for everything. She said that the girl is very pure, so she easily trusts people, but cautious people tend to look closely at others for a long time. She said so that the girl would not attack, and I tried to shrink slowly. Latia decided that she would remember this. She asked his maid if she remembered that when she was upset about the chick, she said that everyone learns to trust others at their own pace. The girl said that Cassian was just like a bird. Suzanne was upset. She asked the girl how it happened that she grew up so quickly. The main character said that it has been a long time since she saw that bird. Suzanne said it was. She said that the bird came from time to time. At this moment, the maid enthusiastically asked if they could go and look for her. The main character agreed and said that they would try their luck in the garden. Later, they searched in the garden. Susan looked in the bushes and said that she was not here either and had probably already flown somewhere far away. Latia said that it's not scary if that's the case. She said that she hoped the bird didn't get hurt again. At this point, Suzanne told the girls that she was very mysterious. She said that sometimes she is an ordinary sweet child, and sometimes she acts like an adult. The girl realized that someone might find out that she had returned to the past with memories of a previous life, but she decided that she would not let anyone find out. This time, she decided to live very peacefully. Latia told the maid that since she had matured early, she could take the burden off her shoulders. At that moment, the main character heard a scream. An unknown guy shouted that Cassian was trying to kill him. Without hesitation, the girl began to run towards the scream. On the spot, one guy lifted the other. He said that it was not surprising that Cassian was the son of an earl who infiltrated the pirate's lair. He said that is why he hurts others so shamelessly. Cassian said that it was their own fault. He said that they took the rake from him. The wounded guy asked what he was talking about. He asked if he really meant to say that they took the rake from him and wounded themselves. Bill started screaming for everyone to come here because Cassian is lying on his head. The main character saw this picture, and I reminded you that these guys are Bill and Ron. She remembered how they had hurt themselves and blamed it on Cassian. It was at that moment that the girl noticed the guy recording artifact on his chest, and she saw that it was glowing and must be recording right now. Bill asked what he should do. He said that tomorrow he needed to run on the instructions of the Marquis Gladelis. Vitya kindly asked him, but he injured his leg. He said it was the guy who hurt him. He said that he couldn't imagine how bright he would be when he heard about it. The main character remembered that the guy would now say about it. Ron brought a bucket of water and said that he could see that Cassian didn't want to apologize, but if he needs to keep it a secret, he should drink it. He said that this water is reconciliation. Suzanne was surprised. She said that this was a well for washing a mop. Ron said it was just water, and all they wanted was to make peace with the guy. He asked if he didn't understand. The main character understood that they were doing this. She understood that they could well be recording the humiliation of couples and laugh at him by spreading the video. She couldn't believe they were cornering him for such a reason. Suzanne said that she would call the head butler, but the girl was no longer there. The main character approached the guys and asked what they were doing here. She said that she saw everything and asked what all this fuss was about. Bill said that if she saw everything, there was no need to ask. He said that the younger master caused the violence and refuses to apologize. So he asked the girl to go where she was going. Latia heard his words and understood that he must have wanted to call her an illegitimate child, as always. The main character said that Cassian did not do this. Bill asked the girl if she was stupid enough to believe him. Ron asked if she really believed the liar's son's words. But Latia said that she believed what shocked the guy. She asked what was wrong. She said that her father took Cassian under his wing because he believed in Duke Lamdisel. She told the guys to watch their language. She asked, or do they want to say that her father is an idiot for believing him? At this moment, Bill said to look at the pitchforks. He said it was a piece of his clothing on a pitchfork. He asked if this was not proof of the guy's cruelty. Latia understood that they wanted to start a fight with him. She thought that these lowly social bastards only knew how to argue. Cassian said that they injured themselves and handed him a rake. But Bill asked when he did this. The main character thought that they were very illogical. She asked if that was all. She said she was talking about water. She asked if they would shut up if she drank it. At that moment, the girl grabbed a bucket of water. Then she drank it in one gulp. She asked the guys now they are happy. She decided to teach them a lesson that they would definitely not forget. At that moment, the main character approached the guy and snatched the recording artifact from him. She said that the two of them were just ordinary servants. She asked where they got such an expensive magical device. But the guys couldn't answer. The girl knew it. She asked if they had stolen it from her father's office. The guys started making excuses. Bill said they didn't do anything. Ron said that it was true and the girl just misunderstood everything. Latia asked, then they wouldn't mind if she asked her father if the recording device had recently gone missing. The main character said that it still works, and she is sure that there are a lot of interesting things on it. For example, how they intimidated Cassian, the son of Count Lamdisel, or how they forced her, the eldest daughter of the Gladelis family, to drink sewage water. The main character said that she was interested if people found out about this. What kind of punishment her father would come up with for the one who discredited the honor of the family. At this moment, the guys fell to their knees and began to ask for forgiveness. They said they were very sorry. The girl asked why they were apologizing to her. Ron turned to Cassian and began to apologize to him. He said they were deeply sorry. He said Bill hit himself with his rake. At this moment, the guys began to argue which of them was a traitor. The main character understood why Cassian clung to this rake so much. She understood that he would have big problems if he did not fulfill the instructions and, in addition, broke them. The guys said that this would never happen again. The girl agreed with them and told them to drink it then. She said that Milord would forgive them if they drink this water. The guys were surprised, and the main character said that if they don't want to, she will tell everything to her father. Afterwards, the guys all drank, and the main character asked if they had finished already. But she said that it turns out their guts are not so thin. Latia told the guys to tell everything to the rest of the servants. She said that if anyone dares to offend Cassian, they will deal with her. The guys agreed and said that they would tell everything right away. Suzanne told the girl that she shouldn't have drunk that water. She asked what if she gets sick. But the main character told her not to worry. She said the water is cleaner than it looks. The maid grabbed the girl's hand and said that it didn't matter because she needed to take the medicine now. The main character tried to stop her and said that she still needed to talk to Cassian. But the maid simply dragged the girl away. In the end, Suzanne forced her to drink 5 glasses of pure water. She had to take medicine to avoid getting sick. On top of that, she was reprimanded. In the evening, the main character told Susan that she was really fine and she shouldn't worry and go to rest. Suzanne agreed and told the girl to call her if necessary. Latia agreed and said that it would be necessary. She was very pleased when someone took care of her. Latia asked Suzanne to return the magical device to her dad, along with the warning letter. It was written in the letter, "Father, some people are throwing mud at our family name. Among them may be our courtiers who are disseminating the family's personal information." The girl asked, maybe she should be more careful. It was a harmless lie, but it was enough to make the man nervous. He is obsessed with the idea of a clean and correct image of their family. This is why he gave the girl this pendant. Latia thought that her father probably thought that she was trying to maintain the image of their family. This is the first time she has something of her own. She understood what it was like. The girl decided that it didn't matter if she started to provoke her father. She should also be more careful. The next day, the main character noticed that the feeder she had left was completely empty. She asked if another bird ate her. But Suzanne said that the chick could have eaten everything and immediately flown away. She said that this was his favorite food after all. The main character agreed and said that everything was fine with him. She said that then she would just continue to put food in the feeder for him. At that moment, the main character and the maid heard a scream. The merchant stood in front of the palace entrance. He asked to be missed only once. He said that he has selected medical herbs of the highest quality. He asked if he could at least give them the catalog. But the knight said no. He pushed the man and told him to get out of here. The knight said that the Marquis of Gladales is very generous, but they do not have room for a simple merchant. Latia did not understand what was happening. At that moment, the man stood up and said that he was not a simple merchant. He said that Gruon Trading Company has been in business generation after generation. The knight told him that the Gruon Trading Company went bankrupt several years ago, and he was a simple merchant. But the main character was surprised by the fact that this guy is from the Gruon Trading Company. She realized that he was the head of a trading company. Celtron is the head of the Gruon Trading Company. The book describes his natural talents and aptitude for botany. The reason for this is his belonging to the Druid race. Unfortunately, he does not yet know his true origins, but his company's medicinal herbs were of the highest quality and were popular. The father of the main character, Marquis Gladelis, was to blame for the bankruptcy of the Gruon Company. As soon as he became the head of the family, he, using the power of his power, invited the Gruon Company to supply him with goods at an unfairly low price. Despite the cheap payment, Celtron could not refuse his offer. The Gladelis family had widespread influence, and rumors that the company had cut ties with it were bad for business. The girl's father even stole Gruon cultivation methods and supplied huge quantities of medicinal herbs at a low price. As a result, the Gruon Trading Company suffered enormous losses and eventually went out of business. The main character could not believe that her family alone was so cruel. Suzanne said that this guy is the head of the Gruon Trading Company. She said that she was very sorry for his younger sister. Susan said that she was sick and all she needed was medicine to get better. The main character understood what it meant. They couldn't even afford to buy medicine. She thought it was very stupid, the daughter of a medical herbal company on her deathbed, because she couldn't buy drugs. Susan said she hoped Gruon would get back on his feet someday. Latia said that it will be so. She said that they would become the main trading company introducing medicinal herbs to the imperial palace. Susan asked if it was true. She said that of course their product was of the highest quality, but asked the girl why she was so sure of this. Latia said that she just really wanted it to be like this. She said that they say a dream will come true if you say it out loud. Susie said that's true. She said that she hoped everything would turn out as the girl said. Latia realized that she had again spilled too much from the book. At that moment, she realized that she knew what to do to get Gruan back on horseback. The main character knew that when Cloud returned, she would be 10 years old. How can a 10-year-old girl without a past ensure her safety? And she understood that she needed to find a reliable place and people before she grew up. She decided that this was her lifeline. At that moment, the main character ran up to the man and asked permission to introduce herself. She said her name. The man said that he was very glad to meet you. He introduced himself and asked what she was doing here. Latia said that she really needed highly effective medicinal herbs and asked if she could look at his catalog. The girl looked at the catalog. At that moment, the knight told her that they had medicinal herbs growing in their backyard. He said that there was no need to let this merchant in, but the main character said that she needed an effective herb. Did she ask, or did he not hear her? It was at this moment that the girl told the knight that she didn't remember anything about allowing him to contact her. At this moment, the main thing was to turn to the merchant and ask if they could continue their conversation inside. The man agreed, and they went and went. In the house, sitting at the table, the merchant thanked the main character for giving him time. He asked why she wanted to buy their herbs. Latia said that they would get straight to the point. She asked her to give her a job in their trading company. The girl said that it sounded very crazy, although it was understandable because now she is only 7 years old. But she has already lived one life. Plus, she knows the plot of the book, so she has every opportunity to lead the company to success. The man replied that he could no longer hire people. He said that it was not only because of the money, because after all, the girl was very young. The main character realized that this was to be expected for him. She was just a child. Latia said that she heard that her father bribed the employees of the Gruan company and saw their secret cultivation technique. Then, with the help of it, he sold what they did, with large supplies and lowering the price. The merchant said that this is so. He said that these are difficult times, and therefore they have no opportunity to hire someone else. The girl said that then they need to hire her. She said that you can't just sit silently and suffer. The merchant was surprised and said that the girl would betray her family. But Latia said that she was illegitimate. She told the man that she could not tell him all the details yet, but she said that she thought that such an explanation would be enough for now. The girl said that she was going to help her father manage his trading company. In other words, it can help both of them directly and indirectly. She said that moreover, she knows how the Gruan company can become successful again. The merchant was surprised and asked if there was a way. Latia said yes, but she understood that to be more precise, it would not be a method, but a person. After all, it is Cassian who will help them. After Cassian carries out his revenge, he will leave the city, leaving his father to manage the trade. And he will return after saving the princess of the dying kingdom. That is, the main female character of the book, Eris. In the events of the book, Eris was shocked by the fall of her kingdom and suffered from homesickness. Cassian really wanted more for her, and after a long search, he finally found flower seeds that grew only in one kingdom of the princess. But, to his chagrin, the plants bloomed. And then Cassian remembered the Gruan Trading Company, which he had been observing for some time. When the company went out of business, it took some of its secret growing techniques with it. Around the same time, Celtron's younger sister died. Cassian turned to the botanist when he did not even have money for a funeral. Cassian financially helped Celtron see his sister off on her final journey. Living with hatred for the Gladelis family, they found a common language. After this, Celtron accidentally learns about his true origin. Legends about the Druids, which were passed down from generation to generation within the family circle, turned out to be true. Well, then everyone lived happily ever after, as usual. Cassian and Eris fell in love after he gave her a flower from her home, and in gratitude, the princess invested in a Gruan trading company. The main character decided that in order to survive, she would do the same to Cassian. She decided that she would help Celtron find out his strength and return the success of the trading company. Latia said that the guy thought about her request for a job. She said that for now she could do something to help the guy make a decision. The man asked what she meant. The girl asked the maid to bring her a pendant. Afterwards, the main character told the man that it was a pendant from Moody's shop. She said that the guy probably knows that Moody's shop is widely known for its amethyst crystals, but she said it wouldn't last long. The girl explained that their family has been cooperating with Moody's shop for several years. She said that her father had recently acquired several shares in the Zayrol amethyst mine. He planned to buy it out completely, to be more precise. Latia read about this in one of the accounting books that she organized even before she returned to the past. Now is the time when my father became very interested in investing. Latia said that two-color amethyst is mined in the Zayrol mine. Therefore, in less than a month, such crystals will become a new gold mine in Moody's shop. She said that the man would be convinced of this after a while. In the meantime, she takes all the medicinal herbs that he has with him in exchange for this pendant. The merchant jumped up and asked if she was sure of this. The girl replied that with the money raised, she could buy medicine for his sister for 6 months in advance. She said that the guy could buy new seeds this way, but she said that the main thing is to sell this pendant as soon as possible. After all, it will fall greatly in price when two-color amethysts are put up for sale. Tuck cried and said that he was very grateful. Latia hopes that she gave him food for thought about her work in his company. Later, when the merchant left, the maid told the girl that she thought it was a great idea to get her a job. She told the girl not to worry because she would support her in everything. Latia decided that she would do everything to survive and stay by her side. When Cassian walked along the corridor, he heard the conversation between the main character and the maid. The girl said that if she gets a job at a Groward trading company, she will begin to look for ways for Cassian to contact her father. 1 week later, Moody's shop put up for sale jewelry decorated with two-color amethyst. At the same time, the girl and Saltron entered into an agreement to get her a job. Saltron said she was looking forward to their collaboration and named the girl Lady Tiana Amethyst. Of course, the girl entered herself under a false name. The main character reciprocated. She thought that who would have thought that both managing an illegal fight club in the past could come in handy. At that time, she had to register gambling aristocrats under fictitious names. Cassian lay in bed and thought that the main character was very strange. He thought that perhaps she had gone crazy after drinking that water, but now he was sure that she was acting sincerely. The main character jumped onto the bed. She was very happy because she opened a bank account. She will save money for the future into this bank account. Just thinking about it really calmed her down. At that moment, there was a knock on her room. The girls wondered who it could be because it was night outside. Latia is glad that Cassian finally came to her, but she didn't understand why she felt so uncomfortable being alone with him. The guy said that first he wants to leave a piece of Siren paper here. The main character asked if he wants to check it correctly. The guy replied that it was already useless since she knew the protest. The girl thought that he might be the main character, but he was still a child. She asked if that didn't improve the situation. She said that he could test her in any woman, and every time she will do as he wishes. Cassian was surprised and wondered if something like this was possible. The main character thought that she practically read his thoughts. The girl thought that now the guy was wondering why she was smiling. She thought he was terrible at hiding his thoughts. Latia realized that if you think about it, the guy can see what he's thinking about. Well, she wondered if she hadn't also read the thoughts of adults before. The same thing happened with Saltron and even Betty. And also the main character read the thoughts of Bill and Ron. Latia realized that something was wrong. After all, such intelligence was never mentioned in the novel. She thought that, for that matter, she was so slow-witted that she didn't even notice what her family thought about her. At that moment, Kian asked the girl what it was. He asked why she had such an expression on her face. He asked why she became so serious. But the girl replied that it was nothing. She told the guys to make sure she was using it to pass his test. She decided that first she needed to deal with the guy. At that moment, Cassian asked the girl why she was helping the head of the trading company. Latia was surprised and asked how he knew this. The guy explained that he saw them when he passed by. The main character replied that she heard that he was in a difficult situation. She said that if she could help him even a little, she saw no reason not to do so. She said that she also needed help from a trading company. Cassian asked the girl if she knew what they say. People suddenly change when they are on the verge of death. The main character thought that in a sense the guy was right. She understood that if she deviated from the original plot, then when Cloud returned, she would go to the guillotine. Latia told the guy that it was true. She said that maybe this is the reason why she changed. At that moment, Cassian jumped up and asked if she was dying. But the main character hastened to calm him down and said that she didn't mean that. The guy started to walk away and said that he just remembered that he needed to do something. The next day, when the girl met with the merchant, she asked him to grow plants. The merchant asked if this was not fluffy grass. He said that everything had withered, but asked why. The girl said that ointments made from fluffy herbs are very expensive. The man confirmed this and said that a large amount of grass is needed to produce them. Latia said that in addition they say that it is a medicinal plant and quite difficult to grow. But she said that this does not apply to a man. She said that the fluffy grasses sold by the Gruan company required 3 horses for 1 kamaz. At this moment, the main character took out a book. She said that she took this book from the National Library. He was surprised and asked if this is not the story of the Druids. The main character said that this was so and asked the man if he had brought what she asked him for. The main character asked if the inheritance of the Gruan Trading Company is really patrilineal. The man said that everything is correct. He said that this list of names is, in fact, their family tree. The main character then asked why the last generation of duds had the same name as the ancestor of his family. She asked if there was a legend that the ancestors of the Gruan house were actually druids. The man was very surprised. He asked how she knew about it. The main character replied that she learned about this when I studied the basics of governing the empire. Latia told the man that he probably felt it. She said that a dying plant comes to life at his touch, and he grows up even healthier than before. The merchant replied that he thought it was because of the know-how that had been passed down from generation to generation in their family. But the girl asked him to check it on the fluffy grass that had gone away. She said that no one can know the truth than to the druids. Latia understood that if Saltron really was Orud, then it would bring this medicinal herb back to life. And naturally the grass will be much more effective than Gladelis at home. The man said that he would definitely try. The mother of the main character asked Betty Latia met with the head of the Gruan Trading Company 10 days ago, didn't she? Betty said that's it. She said that the knights really didn't drive him out, but my lady took him to her room. The girl's mother asked why the maid didn't tell her right away if she already knew everything. The maid said that it was not so important because the girl had no power, and the Gruan Trading Company had almost ceased its activities, so she thought it was not worth it. But the girl's mother grabbed the maid's face and reminded her that she had told her to report Latia's every move. She said that she is the second most important person in the family. She asked the maid if she really thought it was acceptable for her not to know about something, especially for 10 days. She said that she would not repeat it a second time, and said that she hoped the maid would not make such a mistake again. The maid walked and did not understand what position a woman had of such importance. She thought that without her, she would not have known anything at all. At that moment, she knocked on the room and told the Marquis that it was her. She thought that the woman would not have long to rule. The maid asked the Marquise if she would really leave Betty unpunished. The Marquise said that she would not do anything to her. The maid said that there were rumors. But the Marquise interrupted her and asked, "Just don't tell her that she believes in these stupid fairy tales about the romance of the Marquis and Betty." The Marquise said that even if it's true, she doesn't care. After all, Betty is just a servant of low birth, so she is not a hindrance and everything will end soon. The maid understood that the woman seemed indifferent, but as soon as a scandal broke out, she would demote Betty to a maid. The main character was glad because the Siren paper had dried. But she understood that this was not all because the potion for delivering letters was in her father's office. At that moment, the girl asked the maid how she could get into her father's office unnoticed. Suzanne said that in any case the girl will be caught. She said that a spell was cast that tracks the traces of anyone who enters. Latia thought that this was not surprising, because in her father's office there were papers that no one should know about. Even before the girl traveled back in time, when she was helping her father with reports about an illegal fight club, he always repeated one phrase: "Information brings money, especially if it is personal and not unusual." Her father's secret hobby was to find and record the weak points of aristocrats. He had a plan to use it for his own personal gain. Latia thought that thanks to that name of their family, many trusted their father without hesitation and only helped him recognize their weaknesses. Then the girl also wanted his recognition, but she did not attach any importance to it. Susan said she didn't think it was a good idea, and the girl agreed with her. At that moment, Suzanne looked out the window and said that someone had come. It was a merchant. The main character said that she knew that he would be able to restore the cotton grass. The man replied that it was only one day for him. He said that although he always tried to achieve the best result, on this day he really felt his abilities. He said it was like a reward for all the times he was looked up to. He bowed his head and expressed great gratitude to the girl. He said that the front ones are in debt. Latia realized that now the man finally understood that with the help of his strength, he is able to raise his company to its feet. Latia asked. At that moment, the merchant said that he had actually come to the girl not only to share the news, but also to give them a gift as a sign of gratitude. He said that he really isn't sure yet what might be needed. At that moment, the girl realized that she was reading the guy's thoughts again. She wasn't sure about it before, but now she felt it. At that moment, the guy said that the main character should contact him because he would help in any way. He said that this morning he entered into an agreement with the Yariel Collective Trading Company. Latia asked if this was true. She was very surprised. After all, this company has the widest document of goods throughout the empire. Therefore, they are able to find everything you need. No one knows who runs the company, but it is known for his excellent approach to business. The main character couldn't believe that the guy was collaborating with this company. She thought that now the Gruen would flourish even faster than she thought. She asked the guy how he did it. She said that they rarely collaborate with anyone, even the most famous companies. The man said that it happened this morning. He said that when the medicinal herbs began to bloom, he shouted with joy. Strangers passing by inquired about the reason for the noise. The guys told her about his experiment. The stranger found this interesting. She introduced herself as the head of the Yariel company and offered to cooperate. The guy said that the head of the company said that he could use their services for free if he signed a contract. That he wants to provide this opportunity to her. Latia understood that if she agreed, he would think that she was Allah. But she understood that now was not the time to show off her nobility. The girl said she was happy to offer. She said that there really was something that she really needed. After a while, the girls will deliver a gift from Mr. Celtron. Dana opened it and was very surprised. She couldn't believe that he actually got him. This Kimka is not only very expensive, but it is also delivered directly to the Imperial Palace. Therefore, the main character did not harbor hope, but he did it in a day. Latia realized that there really was nothing that Yariel's company couldn't find. At the house, the girl told Suzanne that the Gruen Trading Company would soon gain great popularity. She said that they are now directly cooperating with the owner of the Yariel Company. I don't know how, but I felt that Suzanne was staring at her. Suzanne thought that she didn't know how, but again, everything turned out the way the girl wanted. The main character realized that she was reading thoughts again. After the girl returned to the past, she really acts as if she knows exactly what will happen in the future. Latia thought that this was probably why she sensed something was wrong. The girl decided that then, it was necessary to dispel her doubts. She decided to do something stupid. At that moment, the girl asked her there if she wanted to be told a secret. Latia told the maid that, to be honest, she thinks that there is something angelic about her. She explained that she was sure that she had a guardian angel, and he climbed into her head and told her what to do. Suzanne smiled and said that then the girl had a very reliable guardian angel. She said that he would help her grow into a beautiful girl. Latia agreed, but she didn't understand whether the maid really believed the truth. Susan thought that although the girl was very smart, she was still naive. Latia thought it was good that Suzanne was so trusting, although she understood that I was not completely lying. The main character thought that she was from her past life, who read the novel, and Latia before time travel is really her guardian angels. But she understood that her experience in the past would help her avoid making mistakes in the future. At that moment, the girl heard a strange sound outside the window. When she looked outside, she saw a bird lying down. He is a messenger from heaven calling high above the city. He owns the Forbidden and cares for all wandering souls. His name is the Forbidden Soul, but he doesn't like the name. He thought it was some kind of stupid abbreviation. But this is not the most important thing. He is a guardian angel. Even better, he is a great guardian angel who will soon become a deity. To become a deity, a guardian angel must acquire 4 powers, and you can find them if you help children discover their talent. The only rules are that the chosen child must have a good heart. One of the 4 candidates he chose was Latia. The bird thought that the girl had an amazing talent for which people were ready to sell their souls. He hoped that she had a good heart. Then he could help her. But suddenly Latia began to lash out at another child. He was disappointed in her and stayed away. Well, that was before, but now she has changed a lot in recent days. For the Forbidden Soul, she understood that even though she sometimes still shows her ambitions, her heart is filled with kindness. But I thought that just in case, I should listen to what she says. Enough at that moment. The bird heard the main character say about the guardian angel. The Forbidden Soul wondered if he had heard it. He thought that the girl knew who he was, and this means that he is missing. If Dita finds out about the guardian angel, he will have to begin the path of becoming a deity from the very beginning. This means that all his efforts were in vain. The Forbidden Soul thought that he could not go through part of this again. Let's get back to the present. The main character told the maid that this is the same chick that they found not long ago. Susan said she thought it was him. She said that she thought he was living somewhere and doing well, but he fell ill again. Latia said that he is very small and weak, and maybe that is why it is difficult for him to live in the wild. The girl understood that if you don't have the strength to take care of yourself, you will simply die in the wild. It was at this point that Susan suggested that the girl choose a name for the chick. She said that she thought they should look after him for a while. Apparently, it would probably be inconvenient if he remained nameless. Latia said that if you think about it, his name was not always just a bird. At this moment, the main character said what she came up with. Later, when the chick woke up, the main character called him Tweety. She said that she finally woke up and asked if he remembered her. At first, the chick didn't understand whether she was really addressing him. At that moment, the girl said that she had come up with a name for him. She asked where he had been because she was worried about how he was. Tweety didn't understand anything because he thought that she had already revealed his identity. Well, at this moment, you thought that perhaps the girl only knows about the existence of a guardian angel and does not know that he is her guardian angel. He thought there was a possibility that she hadn't figured it out yet. Latia asked if he didn't like the name, but Tweety started shaking his head, saying he liked it. The girl smiled and said that she was very happy. At this moment, Latia thought about how she now understood what Tweety was thinking about. She didn't understand what kind of ability she had. She thought that this power appeared to her after she returned to the past. The girl didn't understand why she should then waste time on making money. It would be faster and easier to try her luck in a casino. She could read the faces of the best players, but she realized that she was not yet able to read constant thoughts, and maybe she could not yet control her ability. At that moment, the chick fell. Suzanne ran up to the girl and asked what happened. The main character replied to make Vita suddenly feel worse. The girl realized that he had a fever and asked the maid to bring an important towel. At that moment, the main character heard the thoughts of the chick. He thought that she should not think about such things and act badly. Latia thought that he felt bad because of her thoughts. The main character decided to believe it, and did not start saying that she would become the best in gambling, and he will spend all his winnings on all sorts of different and bad things. At that moment, she realized that it seemed she was right. She thought that if he felt bad because of her good thoughts, then what kind of bird was this? The outer one was different from the rest. The girl thought that if she knew his appearance, she could take better care of him. It was at this moment that she thought that she should ask for help from the Yariel Trading Company. Later, they dressed the chick. Tweety was very happy and wanted to be praised even more. Suzanne and the trader watched the chick and were very happy. The main character remembered that they both adored animals. Saltron told the girl that at first he was worried when she called him, but he said it was a relief that Tweety recovered so quickly. Latia thanked the man for responding so quickly. She asked if he was sure that she could take this decoration. Celtron that birds feed on harmful insects, so they help grow plants. So he asked that this be taken as his gratitude. At that moment, the girl asked what kind of pendant it was, because it didn't look like a simple stone. But Saltron said it was a secret. He said all he could say was that if she was friends with Twitty, one day it would help her. The guy told the girl that he would not forget to ask about the type of tweet. Latia thanked him and told him to deduct the cost of the investigation and her salary. Celtron said that then he is sure that I will pay off. After all, from this moment, he appoints her as his advisor. Latia is not sure and said that then she will try not to let him down. She understood what it meant and can now offer her ideas. And 10% of the profits from them will go to her. But this is a double-edged sword. If the ideas are successful, her salary will be high. And if the idea fails, then she will be left penniless. Latia stood up and told the man that she would see him off. The guy thanked her for seeing him off every time. First, the chick wants to be taken with you, but the girl said that he should stay here. She said that she is not yet allowed to have animals. Latia understood that Celtron often began to visit them, which is why the servants were already starting to look askance at her. Latia told the chick that he would have to stay here for some time and asked him to be quiet. She said that when she returned, she would treat him to something tasty.